I had just moved into Lake Ridge in early spring when the trees around the lake were still soft green and the geese walked like they owned the sidewalks. My name is Ethan Miller. I'm the kind of guy who drives a truck with a toolbox in the back and who has a scar on his thumb from a high school shop class. Quiet, but not shy. I've spent 15 years working as a project manager for a mid-sized construction company, building parks, trails, and yes, pools. I loved the work. I loved seeing families enjoy the things we made. But after the ribbon cutting, I was always gone. I never stuck around to watch them swim in the pool or play on the swings. Lake Ridge was supposed to be my rest, a place to finally settle down. My sister Rachel lived just 20 minutes away, and my nephew Aiden, 8 years old, thought every frog was his friend. I bought a small house on Birch Loop, just a short walk from the lake and the community pool. It was that pool that caught my eye the first time I toured the neighborhood. I knew the curves. I'd drawn them myself 3 summers ago when I was still managing the pool's construction. I had never asked for credit for it. The developer and the HOA had handled the press. But I knew every detail, the rebar, the forms, the gunite, the plaster. I had built that pool. Moving in was easy. A few boxes, a coffee maker, a used grill. I introduced myself to the neighbors, got to know their names, and offered help when I could. Mr. Harris across the street, 74 with a back brace he called the hug from behind, needed help with his gutters. I climbed up, cleared the leaves, and he handed me a warm Pepsi in return. It felt good. I felt like I belonged. That's when I sent a friendly email to the HOA. I was new, wanted to help, offered my hand for repairs, for keeping the place looking nice. A reply came back from a generic email address, thanking me for the offer and reminding me to follow the rulebook for any changes on HOA property. Just rules, no warmth. That was the first taste of the HOA's tone. Then I met her, Karen Whitfield, the board member, the enforcer. She approached me one afternoon while I was showing Aiden how to blow bubbles with his face in the water, a neat stack of papers in her hand, a key fob dangling from her lanyard like a badge. "I'm Karen Whitfield," she said, eyes scanning the pool. "We're very proud of our standards here." I greeted her politely. "Nice to meet you. I'm Ethan from Birch Loop. This is my nephew. He's excited to try the slide." She looked at the slide as if it were a strange animal and then tapped her papers. "Please make sure you read the pool rules," she said, pointing to the page. "No running, no glass, no loud music, and no guests without a guest pass purchased 24 hours in advance." "I read them," I said. "I bought a guest pass this morning." She smiled, tight and quick. "Next time, please do it a day earlier." Aiden didn't hear any of this. He was too busy pretending to be a seal. We swam, we laughed, and when we left, we picked up a stray snack wrapper by the gate. I thought that would be it. The next day, I found a yellow slip taped to my door, a violation notice. Apparently, I had left my trash can visible for 4 hours after pickup. I had missed the time window for it to be hidden. I paid the small fine. It wasn't the first notice I'd received. It wouldn't be the last. But then came another, this one about my mailbox being a slightly different shade of black than the HOA standard. Black has shades, apparently. I bought the recommended paint and fixed it. Still, the notices kept coming. A flag too big, a light too bright, the garden hose not on an approved reel. And it wasn't just me. Jessica, a nurse who worked long shifts, got fined for her grass being an inch too tall. New neighbors were scolded for chalk art on their driveway. Chalk art, something you can wash away with the rain. We all started talking about it. Quiet whispers at the mailboxes, louder rants in the neighborhood group chat. Some people said, rules are rules. But I believed that rules should help people live well, not make them scared to breathe. One evening, I walked down to the pool. My key fob beeped red when I touched the reader. It didn't open. I tried again. Same thing. A note appeared. Fob malfunction. Contact HOA. I called, emailed, and submitted a ticket. Nothing. The next day, Karen was there at the gate. She looked at me, a sharp smile cutting through the air like a blade. "Your fob is deactivated," she said. "Why?" "Your account has flags." "What flags?" I asked. She wouldn't say. I tried to get in, but the gate stayed locked. "I'm not leaving," I said. "This is my pool. I helped build it." She raised an eyebrow. "You don't live here." That's when everything shifted. I wasn't leaving. My phone buzzed in my towel. Karen stood there, her finger pointing like a gun at my chest. I looked at the officer, then at her. "Excuse me," he said, holding his hand up to Karen. "Step out of the pool." I walked toward the edge, but before I could say anything else, a scream cut through the air. The water rippled. The water rippled. A pink foam noodle floated in circles. The officer spun around and I dove. The world went silent beneath the water. I grabbed the little girl's arm. She kicked and struggled. I kept her head above the water, kicking hard, swimming toward the wall. Hands reached down to help pull her out. Her mother pulled her into her arms, sobbing in relief. The officer knelt beside them. "You know what you're doing," he said. "I've done this before," I answered. I felt the weight of everyone's eyes on me. For a moment, everything was still. But Karen couldn't let it go. She stood, clipboard still in hand, eyes wide but unsympathetic. "This doesn't change the fact," she began. But the officer raised his hand. "Ma'am, let's take a breath." I turned away from Karen and the officer, my nephew's hand in mine. We walked back to the pool, and I realized what I had to do. I couldn't back down. Not now. Not after what I had just done. I wrote a letter to the HOA. Not an angry letter, just the truth. "Please treat us like neighbors," I wrote. "Rules help, but kindness helps more." I slid it under the office door. No response. Days passed, and then one afternoon, another yellow slip appeared. Unauthorized use of HOA property. Fine, $5,000. I was stunned. It was more than my mortgage, a fine for swimming. I couldn't pay it. I wouldn't, but I couldn't fight alone. I went to Mr. Harris, then to Jessica, and together we started a petition. We knocked on doors. We gathered support. People were tired. They wanted fairness. Karen couldn't just keep controlling everything. But she wasn't done. The fire came next. The clubhouse burned to the ground. Karen immediately pointed at me. "He did this," she said. "He's been attacking us for months. He set the fire." But the truth was different. The security footage showed it wasn't me. It was Karen, standing by the back wall, pouring something along the shed and setting it alight. Arson. She had tried to destroy me, to destroy all of us. But the truth came out. The neighborhood exploded with shock and anger. Karen was arrested. But even as the dust settled, I got another message. "This isn't over," it said. That's when I realized it wasn't just Karen. Someone else was behind all this. Someone even more dangerous. Daniel Price. He had slipped into the community just after Karen's downfall. His calm, smooth demeanor hid something darker. I knew he was trying to finish what Karen had started, and now I couldn't back down. Not from him. Not from anyone. The fight wasn't just for me anymore. It was for all of us. It was time to take back what was ours.